Hello, I'm Castiel, and I'm an angel of the Lord. I've decided to possess this vessel to use this conspirator's knowledge about today's subject matter, which is, does Scooby Doo exist in a universe where the supernatural exists? I mean, there must be some strong explanation as to why Shaggy and Scooby Doo are constantly frightened of men in costumes. With the knowledge of this conspirator named Akeem, my tenure on a show by the name of Supernatural, and certain points laid out by individuals on online communities such as Reddit and Tumblr, we'll get to the bottom of this mystery. Welcome to another exciting episode of Cartoon Conspiracy, where we'll find out just how probable it is for the world of Scooby Doo to exist in a world where the supernatural is real. So, he's not actually going to possess my body for this entire video, is he? Because I really don't want to talk like this for the duration of this video. Please, let's just cut to the title card. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, one of my favorite cartoons of all time. Many of you guys know this by now if you know anything about me. But one thing that you may not know is that I've been a long-time fan of things horror and supernatural related since I was a kid. Yes, guys, since I was a kid. Blame my mom for recording Hellraiser on the same VHS tape as The Little Mermaid. Yeah, it was really scary hours back then. Like, really scary. Scooby-Doo has seen many different iterations over the years, spanning many a decade. Though the show's style has changed from iteration to iteration, one thing has remained the same. The gang find themselves somewhere that is being haunted by a monster or ghost. The denizens of said place are frightened by the presence of the ghost or monster. The gang set up an elaborate trap to catch the monster or ghost, only to find out it's some superintendent, groundskeeper, or Don Knotts under a mask. Now, typically these individuals did this to try and scare the landowners into selling their haunted property for cheap to them because obviously, well, no one would buy it because, well, it's haunted. Now, the strange thing about this whole scenario isn't just the fact that this keeps happening in the Scooby-Doo universe, episode to episode, but the fact that it actually works. Now, we know that it's actually worked in the past based on the classic line, "And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids." Yeah, these monsters or ghouls roaming someone's property is convincing enough to not only the gang, but the person that's being haunted, to the point that no one questions the likelihood of the ghost or ghoul being a fraud until it's captured and unmasked. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys thought I was Castiel in the beginning because, well, I was talking like this, until, oh, the mask was removed to reveal me. Hello! Now, of course, Velma is always the skeptic, with the rest of the gang having little doubt that it might actually be a real monster they're dealing with. Like, you know what, gang? Like, let's revisit the line, "I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids," shall we? Now, the implications of that particular line indicates that the Scoobyverse operates on a different spectrum than our real world. I mean, just think about it. If you saw the space kook roaming around in real life, your first inclination is, what's with that weirdo in the skeleton suit and space outfit? Is it Halloween already? Not like zoinks, like it's the space kook, like let's get out of here, Scoob, before it gets us. No, I don't think so. The fact that these criminals believe that they can actually get away with this deception further implies that there's precedence of this happening in the past, likely by an actual supernatural entity. And everyone that the gang encounters from episode to episode 100% fully believe that these ghosts, monsters, and ghouls are in fact real. Though in the earlier iterations of Scooby-Doo, we see the gang constantly running into masked villains, the truth of the matter is, they live in a world where magic and monsters, the supernatural, are in fact real. Poof. It was a magic trick. Looking at the television series of the franchise such as Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, and even a pup named Scooby-Doo, we've seen nothing but masked men trying to scare folks for personal gain. But if we pan our eyes towards the Scooby-Doo films, well, we see the supernatural, real supernatural occurrences seeping into the franchise, slowly but surely. In the first feature-length film, Scooby-Doo Meets the Boo Brothers, Shaggy enlisted the help of ghost exterminators to get rid of a ghost haunting his uncle's mansion. Yes, the most easily frightened human being in the Scoobyverse called upon actual ghosts to get rid of ghosts. Makes sense. Like if there's something strange and it don't look good, like who you gonna call? Like actual ghosts. Really? Because you know the Ghostbusters, like they've built an entire business on doing just that. Yeah. You know, the screwed up thing about that is after the Boo brothers helped Shaggy, he felt sorry for them not having a place to haunt, so he in turn for their services allowed them to haunt his uncle's crib, pretty much defeating the whole purpose of calling them in the first place to bust the ghosts. It's like, thanks man for helping me get rid of the ghosts. Like, you're ghosts. You wanna just live here? Yeah, go ahead, haunt this place. What? I mean, honestly, that's like if I had rats in my studio here, I called Rat Man, who was an actual rat man, to come in here and get rid of my rats, and once he got rid of my rats, I said, hey, Rat Man, you wanna live here? Yeah, go ahead. Nibble on my walls and cheese. Huh? Now, the early and modern day films were a hotbed of the supernatural, from Shaggy being turned into a reluctant werewolf to the gang actually chasing down witches and hunted by zombies. Yes. Now, some might argue that the films may not be considered canon. I don't know if it's because Shaggy was wearing a pink shirt, maybe. Now, while you could argue that particular notion, the first few incarnations of the Scooby Doo series are in fact considered canon. The seventh incarnation of the franchise is where they brought into speculation of the Scoobyverse coexisting in a supernatural world to full-blown, undeniable proof. The 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo. In the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo, Shaggy and Scooby are tricked into opening the Chest of Demons, a magical artifact which houses the 13 most terrifying and powerful ghosts and demons to ever walk the face of the earth. With the help of Scrappy, Daphne, a boy named Flim Flam, and a warlock named Vincent Van Ghoul, Shaggy and Scooby set out to recapture these demons and save the world. That's right. Shaggy and Scooby were shaving people and hunting things. It was the family business, Scoob. Sounds familiar. Honestly, it kind of sounds like an early script synopsis for the television series Supernatural. In fact, Supernatural and Scooby-Doo recently had a crossover episode that further provides evidence of the Scoobyverse existing in the world where the supernatural exists. Literally. In the episode in question, Sam and Dean were called to a pawn shop where supernatural occurrences were happening, like a plush dinosaur coming to life. It's pretty supernatural, yeah. In the end, they find out that while there was in fact an actual ghost behind the occurrences, it was a greedy land developer who was behind the haunting, so that he could scare the store owner into selling his haunted property for cheap. Sound like a familiar scenario? Like it sure does! Now, if you haven't seen Scooby Natural yet and you're a fan of both franchises, I urge you to do so immediately following this video, please. Fortunately for those who may be behind on the Supernatural series, the way they executed this particular episode, you really don't need to be caught up with the series. It's a standalone episode that brings the boys and cast into the world of Scooby Doo. They also explain to the gang that supernatural creatures are in fact real, and for me personally, as a longtime fan of the Scooby Doo series, it was a little bit horrifying and a bit heartbreaking to see the gang practically crumble, spaz out, and pretty much fall apart finding out that the supernatural is real.
If there are ghosts, that means there's an afterlife, heaven, hell. Am I going to hell?
I mean, man, Shaggy broke his arm because of it. Like, it scared me, man. I understand, Shaggy. It would scare anyone. This particular crossover, however, took place in the original iteration of the Scooby-Doo series, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, in the episode entitled A Night of Fright is No Delight, which apparently is also Dean's favorite episode of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Go figure. So it's likely that the gang's timeline of how they actually found out about the existence of real supernatural beings didn't occur until one of the later iterations, like the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, or even in one of the films in the mid-80s. Based on the movies, certain iterations of the animated series, and the fact that they did do a crossover with a television show entitled Supernatural, I'm giving the theory of Scooby-Doo existing in the same universe of actual monsters, ghosts, and demons a solid 5 Jebediah Bravos out of 5. Because while I did love Scooby Natural, nothing compares with the crossover the gang did with Johnny Bravo. I mean, just think about how much hatred your aunt has to harbor for you, for her to dress up like a monster and try to scare you off of her property. On Jebediah! Yeah, seriously, best crossover episode ever! Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out the fact that Scooby Doo exists in a world where there's a talking shark, a talking dune buggy, both of which solve mysteries with teenagers. And what's weird with both of them is the fact that there's always one member that looks an awful lot like Shaggy. Like they're stealing my style! Like, no way, man! There's only one Shaggy! What are your thoughts on this particular cartoon conspiracy? Do you think it holds much weight? Let us know in the comment section down below. And slap a like on this particular video, but not too hard. Just hard enough for us to know that you liked it. Join the notification army by ringing the bell icon. Also, so that you can give an angel its wings. I'm Castiel for Cartoon Conspiracy, and I love you. Even more than Frederator loves you. Now, release the bees!